When you are hurt in a relationship, you may feel it in your heart. And the heart chakra has to do with relationships. When you feel nervous about your safety, your legs may begin to tremble or your bladder may become weak. And that is related to our root chakra, which is the lower part of the body. So even if you question whether or not chakras exist, it's still beneficial to explore everything that is associated with each chakra. Looking at everything in our lives, starting from basic survival needs, which is what our class is about today. All right, so let's notice the sensation of the breath to begin. Taking deep inhales in through your nose and long, slow exhales out. Close your eyes if you haven't already and feel the earth beneath you supporting you. Feel grounded and present to this moment, to your body, and to your breath. As you inhale, imagine that you're inhaling nourishment for your body, your mind, and your heart. And as you exhale, releasing all the things that no longer serve you or help you to move forward in practice or in life. And know that as we go through our practice today, you can always return to this spot on the earth as a way to feel stable, secure, and safe. Allow this to be your home base. So our root chakra is based at the base of the spine. The color associated with it is red, and the element is earth. It governs our basic human needs, security, stability, and survival in life, and relationships, family, and loyalty. So perhaps asking if you feel a sense of being grounded. Do you feel steady no matter what life throws at you? Are you able to feel a sense of being at home no matter where you go? Are there areas in your life where you do not feel safe? And do you trust yourself to make supportive, healthy decisions? So these are the areas affected by the root chakra. And I invite you to set an intention for our practice today. Some ideas for an intention based around our root is I trust in myself. I am safe. I am grounded. I am home. All right. So let's make some small movements in the fingers and toes. perhaps rolling around wrists and ankles. So root chakra at the base of our spine also has to do with our lower body and our legs. So we're going to be a little bit of work here on the legs. So I invite you here to extend your right leg up towards the sky. Left foot can be on the earth with a bent knee. Your leg can be long, whatever's comfortable for you. And then point and flex the toes. Notice if you feel a stretch here along the front of your foot, the shoelace part. And then perhaps make some circles here in your ankles, maybe going clockwise and then counterclockwise. All right, let's place the right foot on the earth and then bring the left leg up towards the sky. So same thing here, point and flex the toes. Notice if maybe you're feeling sensations in your shin or in your calf. And then maybe making circles in your ankle. And then let's release that foot down towards the earth. We'll place both feet on the earth. The knees are bent. And then it's up to you. We're going to come up to seated. So maybe you rock and roll up to seated, grabbing a hold of the backs of your thighs, or maybe you roll over to one side and then make your way up to seated. So we'll come into Sukhasana, easy seated pose, crisscross applesauce, if that's comfortable for you. If not, finding something else that's comfortable in your body. All right. So finding your sits bones, that comfortable place to sit on the earth and feeling rooted here, connected to the earth, rooted in your hips, your sits bones. And we're going to find a surrender pose here. So let's bring the hands out in front. On your inhale, lengthening your spine. And on your exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forward with a flat back as far as you feel comfortable going. And connect to your breath, taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. So this idea of feeling at home wherever you go. So when we're traveling, we're living out of a suitcase, for example, and we don't feel like we're at home. But when you are in your own safe space in your home, what does it feel like? Is there a sense of security, stability, comfort? All right, let's slowly walk the hands back up. And then we're going to just switch the cross of the leg, whichever one is in front becomes the one that's behind. So same thing on this side, inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to fold forward, hinging from the hips. So that feeling of comfort and safety, being in your own home, maybe warmth, security. Can you bring that sense of feeling at home wherever you go in life? All right, so let's walk the hands back up. If you have a block, grab the block. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to use it, but it's kind of interesting to use it for this one if you have one. So we're going to come down onto the floor. We're going to place the block between the knees. So between the thighs, between the knees. Knees are going to be bent, and then we're going to come down onto our backs. If you don't have a block, it's okay. You don't really need it. It's just a little bit something extra to feel this in your body. So feet come nice and close. We're going to come into a moving bridge, but it's going to be a little bit of variation to it. So whenever you're ready, pushing your feet into the earth, squeeze that block or squeeze your inner thighs, push the feet down, lift the hips, continue squeezing that block. You're going to hold for a few rounds of breath. All right. And then either staying here, continue squeezing that block between the knees, or maybe you find taps with your hips. So exhale, hips come down to the earth and tap. Try not to settle into the earth. Push back into your feet and allow the hips to come back up. So hips come down, slight tap, come back up. And just continue moving here at your own pace. Continue squeezing the block. Notice how your legs feel with this block. Do they feel maybe quite active, as in like turned on? Push the feet into the earth as you come up. Whew. Let's find a few more here. All right, so one more. And then releasing the hips all the way down to the earth. Allow your back to become flat on the earth and soften, releasing any tension. Maybe you keep the block between your knees or remove them and swaying the knees from side to side. All right, so we're gonna make our way back up to seated, same thing. Maybe you roll over to come up to seated, or perhaps you find a few rock and rolls here to make your way back up to seated. All right, and then once you make your way there, coming over into a tabletop pose. Wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Drawing the navel in, pushing away from the earth with your hands. Okay, so we're gonna find a balancing cat. I feel like Heather needs to be here. She always wants to do balancing cat. Okay, so right arm comes out, roll the right shoulder back and down the spine. Left leg comes long behind you. Continue drawing the belly button in and push up into that left hand. Find your balance here. And then if this feels easy for you, maybe challenging yourself a little bit by bringing the left leg out to the side and then bring the right arm back as if you're coming into cactus arms, but keep sending the elbow back, squeeze that right shoulder blade towards center. And then everything comes back to center, leg and arm, balancing cat. And then again, maybe you find that movement in your body. Keeping the left foot active, so slightly curling back the toes. Okay. So whenever you're ready, let's come back into tabletop. And then we're going to move over towards the other side. Left arm comes long. Roll that shoulder back and down your spine. Right leg comes long. Activate the foot. Draw the navel in. Push into the right hand to lift. Find your balance. And then if you want challenging your stability by moving the arm and the leg. And notice how sensations in your body start to shift, how your breath changes. Notice if any thoughts come into your mind when maybe you are a little bit off balance. All right, almost there. Squeeze that left shoulder blade if you're pointing the elbow back. And then coming back into tabletop. All right, so a little bit of stretch here for the feet. We're gonna curl the toes under and then slowly walk the hands back. If knees are starting to become uncomfortable, feel free to grab a blanket to place underneath. So maybe hands come to thighs if that's comfortable for you. Sitting up nice and tall. And noticing what you feel here along the feet, bottom part of the feet. And then we'll find a little bit of movement while we're here. If it starts to become really uncomfortable, feel free to untuck your toes. All right, so inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. And exhale, turning to the left, arms come down by your sides. Inhale, arms reach up towards the sky. And exhale, turning to the right, arms come down. And move with your own breath, inhaling to center and exhaling over. I'm gonna find a couple more here. Okay, let's do one more on each side. And then coming back to center, releasing the hands to the earth, untuck the toes. Maybe you shake out the feet a little bit. All right, so this next one, you're gonna be nice and slow and gentle to be sure to protect the knees. Again, any pose that doesn't feel good for you and your body, please come out. So we're gonna place the tops of the feet down towards the earth. We're gonna walk our hands back. If you need to, you can grab blocks to reach the floor if bringing your hands back is not comfortable for you. You're gonna shift back, lift the knees up off the earth. You're looking at me like, what? So knees come up off the earth, but you're gonna keep walking your hands back. You're finding a stretch along the tops of your feet. 2 more rounds of breath. And then let's drop the knees slowly, coming back. Come back into your tabletop pose. And then we're going to step the right foot forward into a low lunge. So if you need to, walk the left leg back slightly. Sink the left hip down towards the earth. So a few options here. Hands can stay on the earth or come to blocks. Hands can come to that right thigh, push into the thigh to lift. Or maybe arms reach up towards the sky. Shoulders roll back and down the spine. All right, if your arms are up towards the sky, right arm comes down by your side, reaching over towards the right side with that left hand. If you need a block under the right hand, certainly find one. And notice where you feel this stretch here. Perhaps it starts somewhere in that left thigh and moves up into that hip, maybe somewhere into the abdominal wall here. One more round of breath. And then we're going to come back to center. Hands release down towards the earth. We're going to keep the toes on the floor for this one. Normally we activate the foot, but we'll keep it straight. So if you need blocks, grab them. Walking your hands back, toes stay on the earth, straightening that front leg, feeling the stretch here into the top of the right foot. So notice what's going on with the right hip. Sometimes we want to pop the right hip back. If it's popped out to the side, we'll tuck that right hip under. Even then, you notice a bit of a change in the front of that right foot. Okay, let's walk the hands forward once again. All right, and this time we're going to activate the foot, walk the hands back, allow the toes to point up towards the sky. Tuck the right hip under. So you can stay here if you want, or if you want something a little bit extra, we're going to walk both hands over towards the right side. So notice what's going on with your hips. They're going to want to travel out to the left. Try and keep them squared towards the front of the mat. Okay, bringing the hands back. We're going to stay in this pose another breath or a couple breaths. Square the hips. Maybe you stay here, or maybe the left hand comes to the earth. Right hand reaches up towards the sky. Again, if you need to bring the earth up closer to you, placing a block underneath the left hand. Tuck the right hip under. Whew. Right hand comes down to the earth. Let's walk our hands forward and then into tabletop. And then we're going to stretch the right leg long behind us, curl the toes under, and find some rocking motion here. Or maybe you just hang out in that stretch, feel the stretch in your calf. All right, let's come back to our tabletop, and this time allowing the left foot to step through. Find your lunge here. Left knee is over the ankle, in line with the second or third toe. All right, where does it feel comfortable to have your hands? Maybe it's on the earth, on your left thigh, or perhaps up towards the sky. Shoulders soften wherever you are. And think, settle. Allow for the stretch along the front of the right hip, right thigh. Perhaps you stay here, or maybe that left hand comes down by your side, reaching over towards the left side. So in this shape that we're in, it targets the psoas muscle, and our psoas muscle is known as the fight or flight muscle. So it tends to get tight when we are under stress. Ooh, keep breathing through it. Let's reach the left hand back up towards the sky. Hands come down to the earth, keeping the toes on the earth, walking back. Tuck the left hip under. If you wish to feel a little bit more push the big toe down towards the earth. So we often neglect stretching this part of our foot into the ankle. I know I forget about it all the time, but that's why we're doing it today. All right, bending into the front knee, walking the hands forward. All right, and this time activating the left foot, allow the toes to point up towards the sky as you walk your hands back. If you don't feel much of a stretch here, perhaps you find length in your spine and then hinging from the hips forward. Tuck the left hip under. All right, lots of options here. Hands can stay here if you want. Or perhaps you bring the hands over towards the left side. Feel free to use blocks if the arms don't quite reach, keeping the hips square towards the front of the mat. So you're going to feel more of a stretch here along the right rib cage, right waist area, maybe even into the shoulder, just kind of depending on your body. Okay, we'll bring the hands back. Right hand is on the earth or on a block. Keep the left foot active. Left foot reach, or no, left arm, not your foot, reaches up towards the sky. Tuck the left hip under. Left hand comes down to the earth, walking yourself forward into that lunge once again. This time coming into tabletop, and then send the left foot back behind you. Curl the toes under. Find that rocking movement or staying in that stretch. Let's come into tabletop and give our knees a little bit of a break here. Curl the toes under, send the hips back and up behind you, downward dog. Shoulders roll back and down the spine. Taking deep inhales, long, slow exhales. All right, we're gonna do something a little different. Walk the feet out towards the long edges of the mat. Wide-legged downward dog. Draw the navel in towards your body. Heels may not come to the earth. Doesn't matter if they do anyway. All right, so we're going to pick the right foot up and send the right foot so it's about halfway between that left foot and your hands. If you need to grab blocks, you can. We're going to straighten the front leg as far as you feel comfortable going. Maybe you bring blocks, or maybe you need to come up. Hands to your right thigh or your shin. Tuck the right hip under. Push the big toe into the earth. All right, we're going to bend into that front knee, shift the weight into that front foot. So just a slight micro bend. Walk the hands or the blocks out in front. Let's make sure I don't kick anything. Send the left leg long behind you. So we want a straight leg here. And we want to point the toes down towards the earth. Maybe imagine that you're rolling that inner left thigh up towards the sky. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And perhaps exhale, hinge a little further down. Send that left hip up or left leg up towards the sky. If you need to, come into forward fold instead, both feet to the earth. Let's take a big step back here with the left foot. Bend into that right knee as you do so. Send the foot to the outer edge of the mat, and then right foot to the other side. So wide-legged downward dog, shoulders roll back and down the spine. All right, so other side, left foot steps forward about halfway between the feet and the hands. If it's in your body, maybe it comes a little more forward if you wish for a little more of a stretch. Straightening that front leg. Keep the toes on the earth. Walking the hands back, use blocks if need be. Tucking the left hip under. Let's walk the hands forward, slight micro bend in the left knee, send the right foot back behind you. Draw the navel in, rotate the inner right thigh up towards the sky. Find your breath. Ooh, mantras. Mantras can help us. I am grounded. I am grounded. All right, if you wish, maybe you send that right foot up a little higher, find length in your spine, hinge from the hips, fold a little more towards that left leg, or come into a forward fold. Both feet on the earth. I am steady. All right, this time we're gonna bring the right foot beside the left. Forward fold. Here, allow the arms to soften. Allow the head to be heavy. Slight micro bend in your knees, or maybe deep bend in your knees. All right, and then whenever you're ready, hands come out towards the side with a flat back, reverse swan, dive up, arms reach up towards the sky. Ooh, hands come to heart center. Find your balance. Finding mountain pose, feet are hip distance apart, shoulders roll back and down the spine, squeeze the inner thigh. Feel rooted with your feet. Feel the four corners of your feet here, pressing into the earth, maybe even lifting the inner arches of your feet. Lift the kneecaps. Perhaps you close your eyes. So like a tree, we can feel the earth beneath us, supporting and providing the nutrition that we need. Both balancing and relaxing our mountain pose allows us to feel centered and focused on the present moment. All right, whenever you are ready, opening your eyes. We're gonna bring the arms out, up towards the sky. And then maybe bringing the hands out in front, hinge from the hips, draw the navel in, come about halfway. And then slowly come forward, arms are still long, slight bend in the knees. Our not so favorite pose or favorite pose, squat pose. Let's walk the feet out towards the sides. For me, it helps to point the toes out towards the sides. Some people can do it feet straight, but that's just not in my body. It might not be in yours either. So you're gonna come as far as you feel comfortable. Maybe your squat is high today, or maybe your squat comes kind of low or low. Feel free to grab blocks to place underneath your hips. And if you feel like heels are not coming to the earth, maybe you find a rolled blanket to place underneath the heels. So thinking the hips down, maybe hands come to heart center, finding a tall spine here. Feeling yourself close to the earth. Your feet are roots. And through your feet, maybe feeling the energy of the earth, or imagine that you do. Sinking and settling the hips. How are we doing? How are the feet feeling? And the hips. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. Two more rounds of breath. And then releasing the hands. We're going to turn the feet as we send our hips up. So feet come parallel to the long edges of the mat. A somewhat wide-legged forward fold. So perhaps here, grabbing a hold of opposite elbows. Allow your arms to gently pull the upper body down towards the earth. Releasing any tension you feel in your head. Release the upper body. See if you can quiet your mind. Our forward fold can help us find our center and calmness to relieve tension. Finding two more rounds of breath here. And then releasing the arms, gently making your way into tabletop. All right, and a child's pose. So your choice, knees together or knees apart, sitting the hips back. From here, we're gonna bring the arms back behind us. So if your head doesn't come all the way to the earth, feel free to grab a block or a folded blanket to place underneath the forehead. So hands come back by the feet, palms face up. Allow the shoulders to sink down towards the earth. Notice your breath along your back body. Notice your whole body relax. Notice how it feels to be completely supported by the earth beneath you. And welcome this balance of support and surrender. All right, let's bring the hands back up into tabletop. Shift the weight forward. Tuck the elbows and slowly lower to the earth. All right, so we're going to bring our hands back towards, I'm going to say, the lower ribs. Okay, shoulders roll back and down the spine. Tuck the elbows. Shoelaces come down to the earth. Lift to the heart, looking down at the earth. Try not to put weight into your hands. I just felt like our back needed a little bit of attention after all the forward folding. Two more rounds of breath here. And then gently lower, bending the knees, windshield wipering the feet from side to side. So just before we come into our final pose, a little bit of core work here. So Sphinx pose, forearms to the earth, elbows are underneath the shoulders, shoulders roll back and down the spine. Tops of the feet push down into the earth. Push into the arms to lift. Send the crown of the head up. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, it's hard to see, I'll try and explain it as well as I can. You're going to tuck your chin in, and then you're going to leave your hips on the floor, but draw the belly button in, push into the arms to lift the belly button up off the earth. Hips are still on the floor. Feel the core activated as you do this. And then move in the opposite direction. Allow the belly button to come down towards the earth. Untuck the chin. Okay, we're going to do that a couple more times. Tuck the chin, draw the belly button in, push the hips down into the earth as you lift the belly button up and off the earth. Push into the arms. And then move in the opposite direction, Sphinx pose. Maybe push the top of the left foot to the earth, point the toes of the right foot, lift that right leg up off the earth. Foot comes to the earth. One more time, tuck the chin, pull the belly button up and off the earth. Push the hips down, push into the arms. Remember to breathe, don't hold your breath. Move back into your Sphinx pose. Right foot pushes to the earth, point the toes of the left foot, lift the left leg. Let's do that one more time on each side. Left foot to the earth, tuck the chin, draw the belly button in, lift, push the hips down. Helps to pull the belly button towards the spine. And then move in the opposite direction. Right foot comes up off the earth. Lowering the right foot. Let's come one more time. Tuck the chin. Draw the belly button in. Lift the belly button off the earth. And move opposite direction. Sphinx pose. Point the left toes. Lift the left foot. Gently lowering that left foot to the earth. Let's come into a tabletop pose. Find a few rounds of cat-cow, maybe C-shape, figure eight. Maybe you move in and out of child's pose. All right, and then making your way into Shavasana or any final resting position on the earth. Returning to your home base. Is there anything else your body needs here actually before you come into Shavasana? Find movements if you need to so that you're able to settle. And then finding that home base again. Taking deep inhales in through your nose and long, slow exhales out. And a little bit of a mantra, I guess, that I like to share with you. An affirmation, I guess, is a better term for it. I am connected to all that is around me. This connection gives me a strong foundation and does not hold me back. Security and stability in life allow me to move with both confidence and connection to who I am. And coming back to that sensation of feeling at home, feeling safe, feeling secure. Sometimes I like to think of it as sitting in front of a warm fire during the winter, in front of a warm fire with like hot cocoa or something in my hand. That like snuggly kind of comfortable feeling. How can you take this comfort of being at home, feeling safe, secure, grounded? How can you take that into your life so that no matter where you go, you feel safe? Carrying that feeling of being at home with you wherever you go in life. And whenever you feel ready for a quick Shavasana today, making some small movements in your fingers and toes. Maybe you make some bigger movements. Maybe you find a stretch here. And whenever you are ready, rolling over to one side, whichever side is calling for you. And then gently making your way up to seated. And once you get there, lowering or closing your eyes. Feeling connected to the earth once again, rooted, stable, secure. Taking deep inhales and long, slow exhales. May you go in peace, love, gratitude, safety, and groundedness. Thank you for joining me. Have a beautiful evening.